In the fantastic book, How to Improve Your Marriage Without Talking About It, the authors assert that when we get into a divorce situation, it hits men a lot harder than it hits women. And the reason that this happens is because the man makes the woman his source of meaning for life. So everything in his life emanates from the relationship he has with his wife. Now imagine if this is true, and I've been through a divorce, so I can tell you that it is pretty painful, so I'm not going to argue with it. Now imagine that you're in a home and for 20, 30 years you hear the background noise of the TV, you can hear your wife pottering around the house doing whatever she's doing, you can hear the kids playing upstairs in the bedroom, and then suddenly there's silence. There's nothing except you and your own thoughts, or maybe even worse, like what happened to me. You're not even in that home anymore. You're back in your mother's house at 35 years of age, and as much as you try to listen, they're gone. You can't hear anything. And I can tell you that the loneliness that you feel in that moment is absolutely crushing. It's incredible. To be someone that doesn't drink alcohol, you have to kind of figure out why you drink alcohol in the first place. It is a multifaceted problem, but don't worry, we have at 1000 Days Sober a multifaceted solution. It is called the Strive Method for Addictions, and we work with you over a 6-month period to go really deep to understand why it is that you drink alcohol, or why it is that you smoke cigarettes, or whatever your addiction of choice is. And I can tell you from working with countless people that one of the things that we find at the heart of all addiction is loneliness. This feeling that we're disconnected from ourselves, that we don't understand ourselves, and we're disconnected from those that we love around us. And loneliness, and you can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely, loneliness is the curse of addiction. It is the thing that really drives everything. Okay? Now, one aspect of loneliness is something that I call provincialism. And I got this theory from watching Beauty and the Beast with my daughter Zia, who's 4 years of age, right? Now the main protagonist, Belle, she's always singing, and the opening song, in fact, is all about, I want much more than this provincial life. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing it. So she's always going on about, I want more than this provincial life, and she's walking around all the time reading books. She's deeply introverted, and she's looking in these books, and she's dying and desperate to jump into the pages and to live the life of exploration of these characters, because she's stuck in the Groundhog Day kind of reality, the mundanity of a small town mentality, a small town way of thinking. Before I became someone that doesn't drink alcohol, I also grew up in a small provincial town, and like Belle, I got entrapped into this life of Groundhog Day and mundanity. And one of the problems of growing up in a small town is you develop a small mindset, or you can develop a small mindset, and that certainly happened for me. So how did that show up in my life? The most important thing that happened to me, or the most tragic thing that happened to me, is I found a desperate need to fit in, which is very, very different from belonging. And suddenly I started to wear a mask because I needed to be like everybody else. I sold my soul to the devil to fit in. And those masks can become very suffocating. And the armor that I wore in order for me to avoid being vulnerable started to become weary and started to drag me down. And by the time I got to 35 and I realized that I had been drinking myself stupid to hide myself from the truth, I realized that although I was surrounded by so many people, this small town mindset and this way that I was like fitting in with people, it had really started to affect me and make me feel incredibly lonely and incredibly isolated and disconnected from myself and everyone around me. You are not alone. There are millions of people like you. They might not be in your village, they might be in your village, but you just haven't met them yet. And it's also common to bury our loneliness in a bottle. But it doesn't have to be that way. For Belle, she had her dreams in her imagination, her escapism and her adventures in books. And maybe for a while you've done the same. But how about we change that? How about we start to turn your dreams into reality? How about you learn to soar above that tribe? How about we turn loneliness into connection? Come join us and let 1000 Days Sober be your tribe.